President Bola Tinubu in South Africa for the inauguration of re-elected Cyril Ramaphosa as president.
Healthcare delivery at Federal Medical Center Abeokuta receives boost with acquisition of oxygen plant.
FCT residents in high praise of government as free metro train service makes way.
It's totally free and the staffs are very good, they are kind.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall examine local government autonomy.
Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999 is a story of change and a redemption from repression. But the delivery of what democracy stands for at the local government level seems lacking and severely disempowered.
You can say that again, Ademola, like some political watchers believe this situation is dire and needs revival, as transparency and accountability in the local government system continues to be a significant hindrance to good governance.
That's true, Victor, but because theoretically, the local government system is essentially an avenue to bring democracy or government closer to the people. But the reverse is the case.
And the 1999 Constitution, as amended, recognizes 774 local governments in Nigeria. Section 162 particularly provides for the federation account, which says in section 1623 that the federation account shall be distributed among the federal, state governments and the local governments as prescribed by the National Assembly.
Conversely, rather for the funds to go to them directly, the states take charge in what is called Joint Account Allocations Committee, JAC. Reports indicate the official sharing formula of the statutory allocation from the federation account include 52% for federal government, states gets 32%, while the local government are entitled to 21%, which most times is a mirage, thereby reducing their level of accountability.
And this explains why some analysts argue that Nigerian governors over the years have failed to conduct elections at the local level to elect officials. Rather, they have resorted to appointing caretaker committees who arguably do their bidding and erode the concept of true democracy.
As it stands today, 19 states out of the 36 states are run by caretaker committees, making 433 of the 774 local councils without elected officials, contrary to provisions of Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
And the point has to be made, Ademola, that when you say 19 at the moment, it is just at the moment. Maybe others have transited, because what you have most times is that they have caretaker committees for a period and then elect. So at this time, some have managed to conduct elections.
In Cross River.
In Rivers,
in Rivers, rather.
So you find that all states
Yeah.
do this thing of having caretaker committees. Then at some point when you feel, okay, let's do election, then we conduct elections. And this is why the federal government has decided to take deliberate steps in restoring the glory of the local government system. And so in May 22, 2020, former President Buhari signed Executive Order 10 to grant financial autonomy to local governments, state judiciary, and state assemblies.
That's true. However, the Supreme Court on February 11, 2022, nullified the Executive Order 10 initiated by the former president.
President Bola Tinubu, in another defiant move for local government autonomy to be achieved, recently took the 36 governors to the Supreme Court for illegally withholding funds meant for local governments in their jurisdiction in contravention of Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
The relevant section stipulates that the system of local governments by democratically elected local government councils is guaranteed under the Constitution. How then can the functionality of local government system be enhanced? How can financial autonomy be escalated to make local government less subservient to state governors? Today, we will focus our attention on local government autonomy. I am Ademola Adeoye. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
And on June 13, the Supreme Court reserved judgment in the suit of the federal government against the 36 state governors, seeking full autonomy for the 774 local governments in the country. How does the federating principle apply to the relationship between federal, state, and local governments? We'll find out more about all of this as the program unfolds. I am Victor Azu. I also welcome you to today's program. We are reaching you on the network service of the NTA. Very soon we will have Chukwudi Okoli-Obaja, who will do us the honors of reviewing the papers. But let's first welcome Dennis Adegunloye, who has highlights of the morning news. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning, Victor and Ademola. Good morning, Nigeria. Here are the news highlights. President Bola Tinubu is in South Africa ahead of the second term inauguration of President Cyril Ramaphosa, slated for today, Wednesday, 19th June. The president Tuesday morning departed Lagos, his home state, where he spent the Salah break and landed at the South African Air Force Base, Waterkloof, at about 5:30 p.m. local time. The inauguration of President Ramaphosa follows his re-election last week for a second term. Acting Permanent Secretary, Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ben Okoyen, says President Bola Tinubu's attendance at the inauguration underscores the importance of the relations between Nigeria and South Africa.
South Africa has come a long way. These are big players in the African continent, the biggest economies and promoters of democracy.
An earlier statement by the Presidential Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, indicates that President Tinubu is to return to Nigeria after the ceremony. The federal government has recorded yet another success in efforts to boost healthcare delivery through health infrastructural development, with the acquisition of a multi-million-dollar oxygen plant for the Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, Ogun State.
The efficiency of oxygen, or the percentage that is required in the body, once it is below that, then all other systems will be affected and we are likely to lose the patient.
If you look at a newborn baby, premature baby, 28 weeks, 30 weeks, most of those babies, I can say almost 100% of them cannot survive without availability of oxygen.
The newly flagged off Metro Line free train service was launched on May 29th, 2024, and passengers boarding the train from the Abuja Metro station to the last stop at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport are ecstatic, with talks on the initiative that is already making waves in the FCT.
Also use the services that we provide. That way we can see how it gets better.
This is actually my first time entering a train, and I'm so marveled. It's totally free, and the staffs are very, very good. They are kind. They are very interactive. They will direct you properly because we asked them a few questions and they responded to us very nicely.
And following the end of tenure of local government chairman in Rivers State, most of the council headquarters are being occupied by youths and women from the areas. This is amid security presence in response to an alleged attempt to vandalize government assets.
They should allow the existing peace to enjoy in Rivers State. Our tenure has elapsed.
Today I listened to his broadcast and he had directed that the HRGS should take over from the council chairman. And I'm ready to do that.
Well, those are the news highlights for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Ademola and Victor after this break. Good morning.
The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemiesong, CFR, invites civil, public servants, stakeholders, and the general public to the 2024 Civil Service Week with the theme, Educate an African Fit for the 21st Century, building resilient education systems for increased access to inclusive, lifelong, quality, and relevant learning in Africa. Activities lined up in commemoration of the week are as follows. Interactive session with civil servants from all MDAs, Wednesday, June 19, 2024, time 10 a.m., visual online. Public Service Lecture, Thursday, June 20, 2024, 9 a.m., NAF Conference Center, Jahi, Abuja. Guest speaker, Professor Peter Okebokola, OFR, Commissioning of Fish Housing Estate, Friday, June 21st, 2024, time 10 a.m., Gwagwalada. Sporting activities, Saturday, June 22, 2024, 7 a.m., Moshood Abiola Stadium, Abuja. Awards and Gala Night, Saturday, June 22, 2024, time 7 p.m., Abuja Continental Hotel, Abuja. Special guest of honor, His Excellency, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Interdenominational Church Thanksgiving Service, June 23, 2024, time 10 a.m., Ezuzosia Church of God, Mabushi, Abuja. Announcer, Dr. Deborah O.N. Odo, Permanent Secretary, Service Policies and Strategies Office. For Head of the Civil Service of the Federation.
Bye, Mom.
He's going to play in this weather? Why did you let him go? He might fall ill.
And if he doesn't go out for practice, how will he win more trophies? To protect our family from illness-causing germs during the rainy season, we use Dettol soap every day.
Dettol with Germ Defense gives you protection. Rainy season brings a lot of germs, and Dettol soap's Germ Defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol sure.
Buy a Risco product.
In the heat of the summer, walking on the road feels like walking on hot coals. How do I cope with this heat?
And how do I cope with that bad odor?
By staying 5 degrees cooler.
Body odor is caused by germs, and on hot days, the sweating and the odor are more. That's why you need to get the new improved Dettol Cool Soap, which offers up to 5 degrees instant cooling sensation and protects you from 99.9% odor-causing germs.
The new Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. No need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids.
Something new is about to hit your imagination of TV. A brand new sundial with StarTime's inbuilt technology. New TV innovation with an inbuilt decoder that connects you to both StarTime's antenna and satellite signal. StarTime Sundial TV, you can enjoy over 300 local and international channels, 1 month StarTime's highest bouquet for free, automatic system update. More benefits, more affordable. StarTimes Sundial TV is available in all StarTimes branches and dealers countrywide. StarTimes Inside, entertainment inbuilt.
Nigeria means a lot to me.
And Nigeria means peaceful cohesion.
My country.
We continue to pray, and then hopefully we will come to understand that unity of purpose, unity of living together.
Our ethnic beliefs and background and culture is our strength.
Ever since the amalgamation period of 1914 to date, about 109 years ago, the people of Nigeria live very peacefully with one another.
I think diversity helps a lot to enhance robust development in Nigeria.
All over the country, you have so many ethnic groups, over 250. That is enough to tell you that this is a blessed country that, God has kept, together as one indivisible entity.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Up next is Newspaper Review.
Right, and for what's in the papers, our newspaper reviewer is here seated. Chukwudi Okolubaja, good morning to you.
Good morning, Victor. Good morning, Demola. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and you?
Oh, fine. Good. One day at a time, as I always say.
All right. Good. And so we'll begin with the Nigerian pilot, which leads with the headline, Salah tragedies. With 4 riders, 9 killed, 78 injured in 13 road crashes during Salah holidays. FRSC Zone 11 Command says crashes occurred during first 3 days of Salah holidays. That 78 others sustained injuries in crashes involving 21 vehicles. Explains that 128 people were conveyed to hospitals while 41 were rescued unhurt. Sad. And then just above that story and below the masthead, 3 suspected kidnappers nabbed in Otukpo area of Benue State. You get details of that on page 7. And then Constitution, not Fubara, ended local government council's tenure. That's according to an Islamic leader. You want to know who? Find it on page 6. And then at the bottom of the front page of the Nigerian pilot, which is just below the photo page of President Bola Tinubu hosting members, the leadership of the National Assembly during their Salah visit in Lagos yesterday. Now, police raid ESN camp, arrest 4 in Anambra State. That's on page 6. Insecurity. Kogi government bans all forms of procession in Kotonkarfe environs. Page 6. Tinubu calls for change of mindset to grow economy. You find that on page 9. Tackle biting hunger. Insecurity, Islamic scholar tells Tinubu, page 4. And tension in Rivers as 2 dead, many injured over LG tenure. Right? That's the much we can take on the Nigerian pilots. And on the front page of the blueprint, Kanu Emirates tussle. Don't amplify drums of war. APC cautions Kwankwaso. Says FG hasn't planned to take over power through insurgency emergency. You can find that story or the remaining part of it on page 8. And then ex-militant leaders hail Tinubu, Kyari, worry monarch on oil infrastructure security. That's just on the left column of the front page. NFF axe dangles on Osime over verbal attack on Finidi. That story is on page 32. And policeman vigilante feared killed over Rivers LG tenure crisis. Fubara summons emergency meeting. CP assures safety. That one is on page 8. I think we can rest it here. Ademola.
Okay. I have the Daily Sun newspaper. And just beside the nameplate, again, terrorists kill 6 in Kajuru, Kaduna community. Tinubu, Governor Sani have abandoned us, resident decry. The details of that story can be found on page 5. And the headline reads, Rivers local government crisis turns bloody. Corp vigilante killed, Governor Fubara talks tough, vows to stand on path of truth at all cost. Angry youths dare police and take over council headquarters, destroy Wike statues. So the details of that story can be found on page 6. Ex-militant leaders back Tinubu, Oluwari, NNPC on anti-oil theft plan. And that story, it's on page 8. Soldiers kill self in front of military base. The details of that story can be found on page 5. Be prepared for unexpected in food safety emergencies. NAFTA tells Nigerians. Details on page 8. And Nigeria spends $600 million annually on palm oil importation. That story can be found on page 2. Chooks.
Thank you, Demola. The president is warning against real tracks vandalism, stealing of electric cables. And he is telling us that what is happening now is good economics in very harsh times. It's not going to last forever. And the tone is that even harsh times don't justify criminality. You don't destroy your own infrastructure. And if some of us think, because we are free to challenge the president when we think we have something worth listening to, you must out with it. The CEO of MultiChoice was talking the other time. He said part of the problem in this country was that the economics was not got right. But now it has finally happened. But that the vagaries in the price of the naira to the dollar and all that is causing what made them go up and all that. So he's receiving authentication of his claim of good economics by even somebody who is not in government. That tells you, I had to take it away from politicians, that tells you that the president should be reasonably believed when he said it's good economics in harsh times, but then it doesn't justify criminality. I go back to, you don't destroy your own thing. You'll suffer the repercussions later. Social infrastructure is at the root of law and order. You understand? So don't cause mayhem by making us rush at insufficient facilities. You understand?
Of course, those who do that are not thinking about infrastructure and how it serves everyone. They're just thinking about the peanuts that they can get from selling it.
You're right. Then you say rivers again.
Yeah.
Local government areas are feuding and all that. But what I would always say is when the courts have stepped in, we should step back and listen. They're the final arbiters. There's a Court of Appeal order, a counseling stay of, that is status quo ante being retained till the cases are heard either today or tomorrow. But one of the papers is writing that the council chairman are saying, based on that Court of Appeal, whatever, we are going to stay there for another 6 months. It's not for you to say.
It is the court that will decide.
It is the court.
And by the way, tenures, if tenures have lapsed,
exactly.
I mean, I don't understand why you don't want to go.
That is where we have problem in this local government autonomy, local government administration, and
you see, it's extraneous influence. It is outside influence that is impinging on the smooth running of what the Constitution has naturally stated. Why is just like what I ask anytime is a 4-year cycle is completed and elections are going to come again. You begin to hear things that we should have put behind us, long ago. Why do we have to wait till the tenures?
The expiration of the
why
tenure.
Are we not always ready to take it up? We'll be here at our pepper soup joints and wherever we relax. The UK, US, it can only happen in Nigeria, blah, blah, blah. Many of the people saying it are part of the problem. The will is not there. That is what it suggests.
And in the case of rivers, where you have what seems like a gap, even though heads of local governments have been asked to take control, for the time being,
yes,
is because of politics.
Oh, yeah, of course, it's always politics. It's always politics. But the people's interest should always override whatever politicking you want to do.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Usually the problem of politicians, they are the one actually making things difficult, for us in this country. You know that the tenure will expire maybe at a particular date. Why not organize another election before the expiration?
Yes. That's why I said politics.
So that is the problem. So
we just have to up our game, as people would usually say, because at the end of the day, We are supposed to be a model to the rest of Africa. Yes. This thing happening is not just a Nigerian thing. It's an African thing. I always broaden it to the continental considerations. Look at what's happened in South Africa. The ANC, were they able to steer the ship in South Africa to the point of saying, oh, we've had good governance? No. Ramaphosa's government is surviving now because there's a coalition. ANC could not command outright majority in the elections. So there is always something that happens on the continent that tells you, how ready are we really to rule ourselves? We shouldn't be talking like this after so many years, you know. It's just unfortunate.
Indeed.
A pity there that there were some tragedies, you know, during the Salah and all that. I just pray that
another one is reported in Kaduna, in Kajuru. 6 people killed. And it's really unfortunate.
Kajuru again. You remember the kidnap
terrorist attacks.
Case. It's not how we should go as a people. I don't think that we are doing the best we can to avert some of these things. I don't think so at all.
Now, NAFDAC is warning that we should be prepared for unexpected in food safety emergencies. NAFDAC tells Nigerians.
Food what?
Safety emergencies.
Okay, that is how the Sun, that's what you have there, is couching it. This other paper is coming out with a straightforward headline on it. If you store food from cooked food for more than 3 days, you run the risk of is this pathogens they mentioned there?
But
you know,
refrigerator, is it as opposed to freezers?
No, refrigerating
generally
is you are refrigerating, whether it's in the freezer or you're refrigerating. You are holding the agents of decay, static, that can act because of the cold conditions. That's what you're doing. Yes, sir.
So are you saying that after 3 days now, the food becomes...
that pathogens are likely to get into, you know, what you store there.
Even in its frozen state.
Yeah. I'm just hearing it. And it's a source of concern to many of us because this resort to, oh, at least I can cook my soup, store it for 1 week, be able to do my work till...
And save gas.
Exactly, save gas as well. You know, I think there are going to be some... Yeah, people must ultimately listen to the experts, but compliance is going to be rather, you know, hesitant because of the inconvenience it imposes.
People will also tell you about how many years they have done it and they haven't died.
Do they know why the life expectancy on the continent is also very short?
Yeah.
But then they're freezing abroad. I'm surprised NAFDAC is saying this. They are freezing abroad. They don't joke with it.
I think further, it may require further explanation, you know, how this happens scientifically.
Yeah, well, I think so. So our reporters should go out and seek more clarification.
NAFDAC should come up with more clarification, actually. They should explain to the public what they mean by this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The agency has spoken. If I were you, I'm going to now go to the experts. Yeah, of course, NAFDAC works with experts.
Yeah.
It's the experts that are informing them. But for you to do a proper story, you now broaden out to get professors.
They should create more awareness on this.
Exactly,
that's what I mean, actually. All right, thank you, Chooks. We have to call it, we have to draw the curtain here.
It's okay.
So that we can move on to the main topic of the day. We'll take a break now. Good Morning Nigeria continues. Stay with us.
A good farmer is a craftsman of the highest order. It is said, great farmer, great nation. No farmer, no nation. Yes, let's set the ball rolling to build that great Nigeria where good food is in abundance, affordable and easily accessible. The Renewed Hope Initiative, RHI, an initiative of the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, is aligning with the vision and aspiration of the administration of President Bola Tinubu, GCFR, and is organizing the Every Home a Garden competition. The competition is under the scope of agriculture of the Renewed Hope Hope initiative. For the competition, women are encouraged to immediately plant a garden at home, such that the harvest can provide adequate food on their table and enough to give their neighbor. This competition is open to only women. She must be a first-time farmer. The garden must be in her home, and it is open to women in every state of the Federation and the FCT. Interested participants should do a 30-second video and a picture of the garden which indicates its location to the office of the First Ladies of their various states. The winner of this competition will be announced in December 2024, and the winner of the competition goes home with 20 million naira. Women, join the train. Be part of the food revolution in Nigeria. What are you waiting for? Let's get to work. This message is by the Renewed Hope Initiative, RHI, an initiative of the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON.
In the heat of the summer, walking on the road feels like walking on hot coals.
How do I cope with this heat?
And how do I cope with that bad odor?
By staying 5 degrees cooler.
Body odor is caused by germs, and on hot days, the sweating and the odor are more. That's why you need to get the new improved Dettol Cool soap, which offers up to 5 degrees instant cooling sensation and protects you from 99.9% odor-causing germs.
Name a role that seems to always exist in most Nollywood movies.
Wicked stepmother.
Ritualist.
A wealthy man.
King.
Mention an activity that requires using your lips.
Or risking it with eating.
Is smiling. Kiss.
I go with sock.
How do you do that? I really don't know what that is.
I got money.
The lights are on and the stage is set for dreams to take flight. Who will be the next idol? Watch Nigerian Idol live performances every Sunday at 7 p.m. and you get to decide by voting for your favorite contestant. You can vote via website, mobile site, or by using the My DSTV or My GoTV app with no stress. To vote via website or mobile site, simply visit africamagic.tv/Nigerian Idol. Click on vote, register, and then enter your details and a password of your choice. It's easy and it's free. You can also get AWOOF votes for your favorite Nigerian Idol contestants. All you have to do is download the My DSTV or My GoTV app and you have more voting power at your fingertips. Visit the website for more information. Voting opens on Sundays after the live shows and closes every Thursday at 8 p.m. Remember, vote for your favorites each week and you get to decide this year's Nigerian Idol.
Nigerian Idol Season 9 is proudly sponsored by Techno, Stop at Nothing, and Biggie for every moment.
Bye, Mom. He's going to play in this weather. Why did you let him go? He might fall ill.
And if he doesn't go out for practice, how will he win more trophies? To protect our family from illness-causing germs during the rainy season, we use Dettol soap every day.
Dettol with germ defense gives you protection. Raining season brings a lot of germs, and Dettol soap's germ defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol sure.
The wait is over. The stage is set for Europe's elite. Euro 2024 starts June 14th. Live on Sporty TV.
Right, we're set for the conversation, but to launch us into it, let's take this background report from Oyeyemi Ajayi.
The local government is regarded as a third tier of government. It was in the 1979 constitution that local governments were given a distinct character in the Nigerian constitution. The 1999 constitution, as amended, recognizes 774 local governments in Nigeria, with Section 7, subsection 1, emphasizing that the system of local government by democratically elected local government councils under this constitution guaranteed and accordingly, the government of every state shall, subject to Section 8 of its constitution, ensure their existence under a law. It is considered the unit of government, seen as the closest to the people, and so the word on the streets is that if autonomy is enhanced, upward development would be guaranteed. Over time, there has been the clamor of granting full autonomy, especially financial autonomy, to the local governments, with series of obstacles standing firm against its implementation. The obstacles include constitutional provisions, political instability, financial issues, and the major one, the continuous overbearing role exercised by states over local government affairs, as they believe that enhancing autonomy will make the local governments powerful and uncontrollable. Some experts believe the real problem lies within the state houses of assembly, which are predominantly controlled by their respective state governors. These governors reportedly exert considerable influence over the legislative processes at the state level, effectively stalling any progress towards genuine local government autonomy. Some state houses of assembly, often aligned with the interest of the governors, have consistently failed to pass necessary amendments that would empower local governments. Recently, the federal government dragged the 36 state governors before the Supreme Court, seeking the enforcement of full autonomy of local governments in Nigeria. Among the injunctions, the federal government urged the Apex Court to issue an order prohibiting state governors from embarking on unilateral, arbitrary, and unlawful dissolution of democratically elected local government chairmen and constituting caretaker committees in their place. The federal government wants the Apex Court to enforce the autonomy of the local governments by, among other things, stopping state governors from appointing caretaker committees to administer local governments in their states. It prays that any local government manned by the caretaker committee instead of an elected local government chairman and councillors should have their funds from the federal account withheld, saying that funds due to local governments from the federation account should be paid directly to them instead of through the state government to guarantee their autonomy. Now, how can local governments be more functional? What can be done to enhance autonomy? These and more are questions our guests will be answering soon.
Thank you, Yemi Ajayi, for that backgrounder. And to discuss more on the local government autonomy, our guests are ready, and we have in the studio a senior advocate of Nigeria, Jibril Samuel Okutepa. You're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria, sir.
Thank you, Demola, for bringing me here. And I hope that we'll be able to answer your questions patriotically, nationalistically, and in a manner that those who set up your station will listen and work with it.
Thank you very much, sir. Also joining us via Zoom from Lafia is Honorable Aminu Muazu, May Fata, National President, Association of Local Government of Nigeria, ALGON. He was also ALGON Chairman, Nasarawa State. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, and you are welcome.
Good.
Right, and from our Jos studio, we have Professor Dakas, C.J. Dakas, a senior advocate of Nigeria. He is also a professor of comparative constitutional law, international law and jurisprudence. He is also former Attorney General of Plateau State, lead consultant to the 9th House of Representatives Special Committee on Constitution Review. It's a pleasure to have you join us on Good Morning Nigeria. Okay, and also joining us on the program is Comrade Ambali Akim Olatunji, President General, National Union of Local Government Employees, NOLGE. Thank you very much for joining us.
Bringing to forward the issue of local government autonomy once again. We pray that at the end of the day, we will be able to fix local government and we'll be able to fix Nigeria.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction. You will be able to fix local government and we'll be able to fix Nigeria. Before we start fixing, let's establish the basics why we are here. And SAN's Okutepa is here. Let's hear from you. What does the Nigerian Constitution say about local government autonomy?
Well, I do not know what you mean by autonomy. If in the sense of autonomy means that he's on his own, distinct, independent, not subject to manipulation and control of anybody. Put it in a more jurisprudential context. By the word autonomy, local government is an entity recognized and set up by the Nigerian Constitution. In other words, it's a juristic person, a person who has a life of his own and created by the Constitution as a third tier of government. So by constitutional arrangement, local government in Nigeria is created or are created to be autonomy, to be run in accordance with the Constitution. But the problem we have is the propensities of Nigerian leaders, either at the federal or state, not to allow the local government to be run in the manner of autonomy as envisaged by the founding father of our Constitution. What do I mean? Local government as an autonomous arm of government cannot run itself. It must be run through human elements. And you call them the chairman of the local government. Now, this chairman of the local government, by the provisions of Nigeria Constitution, ought to be in power through what is called democratic processes. And when you talk about democracy, it means that in coming to power, they drive their sovereignty, their authority, their legitimacy from the people. Now, in several instances, and I have said it and I'm saying it here with profound respect, what we seem to be running in Nigeria as of today is civilian government devoid of the nascent principles of democracy, which means that in a democratic system, as defined by President Abraham Lincoln, it is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But in our context, it appears to me that governors of all the political parties appears to be political emperors in their respective states, so much so that when you see even what appears to be local government election, no other political party can win even a councillor seat. It's only in infinitesimal number of places that you can see that. In other words, it is because of our attitude as a people and as Nigerians that we have chosen to engage in what I call constitutional sacrilege, ignoring our constitution to the extent that we rule by the whims and caprices of those who force themselves on us, that we are seeing what we are seeing. I know, and it is a fact, and I'm sure the chairman of Algon will be nationalistically and patriotically enough to admit that most chairmen of local governments are forced to sign that certain amount of money has been given to them, whereas in reality, what is given to them is not even enough for purposes of running the local government. That is why the autonomy of local government has been strangulated by the selfish, primordial partisan interests of our political class. And unless we fix our character and our conduct as a people, there is nothing we can do than to keep lamenting. As far back as sometimes in 2007, the Nigerian Supreme Court and a series of cases that had come before the court had declared that it's unconstitutional to have caretaker. But on daily basis, our governors and our political leaders are doing and appointing caretaker with such audacity of arrogance in total defiance to Nigerian Constitution, Section 7 in particular, that the local government, democratically local government by democratically elected system is guaranteed under the Nigerian Constitution. There was a running battle even from Oyo that was current. It came to Supreme Court. So my problem is not whether or not we have autonomy of local government or autonomy of state or autonomy of federal government. My problem are the drivers of this autonomy who appears to be so much interested in the fruits that is due or that are due to the local government for them to effectively and efficiently run as a grassroots development. How many culverts and markets have been constructed by local government? Look at the schedule to Nigerian Constitution. The functions of local government that, if maximally performed patriotically by those who have responsibility to doing so, you won't have the kind of slums and all the kind of filthy things you see in our various local governments. So the problem, in my estimation, therefore, is for us to decide and see whether as a people we are prepared to run an autonomous local government that is viable, that is people-oriented, that are not an avenue for pecuniary commercial interests of those in power. Because when they share the allocation of the local government to themselves, there are no consequences. How many local government chairmen, councillors, secretaries have been brought to book by those who have responsibility to doing so? And until we start seeing consequences being visited in our country, you won't see anything. And that's why, if you ask me, virtually everyone that comes to power in breach of Nigerian Constitution. Meanwhile, Section 1, subsection 1 of the Nigerian Constitution say the Nigerian Constitution is supreme, and anything that is done contrary to the provisions of Constitution in subsection 3 is null and void. How many of our electoral process that defile constitutional due process have been nullified by those who have responsibility of doing so? And so we should stop playing lip service and political sycophancy to issue of autonomy. Local government in law are autonomy, but the operators of the local government have strangulated and struggled the autonomy of the local government. That's our problem.
Okay, thank you very much, SAN, for your opening remarks. And you have thrown us a challenge, which we will very well carry on to the chairman of, national president, rather, of Algon, Mwazu Meifata. Please tell us, for the purpose of shedding light, what is the status of local governments across the country at the moment? And with regards to local government autonomy, is it in operation in the true sense of it? Has it ever been in this republic?
Good morning, Nigerians. As clearly given in the background by San, the autonomy is there. That is based on the 1999 Constitution as amended. 3 tiers of governments. Then why are the other 2 tiers functioning so well? That is federal, state, and not the local government councils in the country. We all know the genesis. The set of governors, 1999 to 2003, were the genesis, when they made sure that local governments were crippled so that they lose their autonomy, in which they were also beneficiaries of this autonomy. All of us were beneficiaries when we were in primary schools. We know what the local government was doing in terms of basic education, basic health. But because of their political interest, they made sure that JAG account was created. They made sure that no election centrally, no tenure centrally. And these are some of the factors that led us to the present situation. Now, only very few states presently, to be frank, are allowing local governments breathe. Some of these states you can count, like Nasarawa State, which I happen to be a witness. I was elected in 2018. Till now, this governor has never interfered in our allocation. Rather, when we are experiencing shortage, he was always there to help us, to augment us, to come out of such thing. The same thing if you go to Lagos State, the same thing Delta State, the same thing Yobe State, the same thing Plateau, Edo, Kwara, Kaduna, and so many, but majority, they don't allow local governments, councils to operate as clearly stated by the Constitution. This I know practically because I do interact with the 36 states Algon chairman and the FCT. And we do compare notes time to time on happenings in our various states. So this is the present situations, or these are some of the present situations local government councils are in Nigeria. But those that allow them to breathe, those that always aid them, guide them to perform their constitutional responsibilities, when you go to these states, you will see a lot of achievements being recorded by the local government council's chairman. Then why can't other states copy from these states? I'm saying this with facts, without ambiguity. Go to these states, you will see development. Go to any state that local government councils are allowed freedom or autonomy or partial autonomy to operate. So this is the situation now we are in Nigeria, and this is why we are experiencing a lot of challenges at the grassroots, unless and until we address these issues. And also the federal government too is guilty of this strangulation. Look at how the revenue is being shared. Only 18%, slightly above 18%, goes to local government councils. When the local government, 774 local government councils in Nigeria have more responsibilities to perform or to undertake than the federal government. And it is even saddening when even at the fact, local government councils being 774 are not being represented there. They only do what they want to do and then send down to the local government councils without their representation there. Likewise, if you look at the federal government, look at certain functions that ordinarily local government councils will perform, like provision of rural roads, basic health, and the likes. You see, what does the federal government, what does he have to go to local government councils in undertaking rural electrification, rural roads, and to basic health facilities? Why? Because they have surplus amount at their disposal instead of bringing this amount to local government councils so that they can perform optimally. They are not doing so. So everyone is guilty. What are we doing too? We at the local government level, the populace, we allow it to just go, the water to pass under the bridge. Why? Let us be praising those governors that are allowing autonomy to local government councils. Let others copy those that are not allowing local government councils to perform optimally. If they are allowed, we all know this issue of security, issue of food security, so many issues will be tackled at the grassroots. Because local government operators, they are the ones who actually know who and who resides in one area or the other. But they are not being allowed to do so. Also, when you look at the conduct of elections at local government councils, it's one of the reasons. Even if the state houses of assembly can legislate, but the constitution clearly states, let there be elected executives at the local government council. So let's threaten them. Let's call for the full implementation of that. Even if the other autonomy will not come, let the houses of assembly do what other states are doing. Very few states. Allow them. And then even if they will not allow the election to be conducted centrally, then let's threaten the six. That is state independent electoral commissions. Let there be penalty for the operators of such commissions. If they don't do the right thing, let there be legislation. Let there be, even though the laws are there, let us have the political will to implement these laws. And then we should also have a unified tenure for the local government councils. When a local government chairman comes in, he knows that he will spend 4 years and without any interference, then it will go a long way to address so many issues. But whereby when a local government council, even if he was elected just last year and a new government comes in at the state level, he will just make sure that the local government chairmen were being sent away. Like my state, I can always mention, when A.A. Sule came in, he inherited us from the previous governor. But upon all pressures, he refused to tamper with us. And even when our first tenure ended, he conducted election again before the expiration of our tenure in 20. That's why we are in now. So why can't other governors do? What will it take away from them if they allow that? It will rather take out a lot of burdens on them, because local government councils can handle that.
Thank you for your opening remarks, Honorable Muazu. I just wanted to get a little more clarification. You have mentioned quite a number of states as practicing either partial or full autonomy of local governments, and I begin to wonder, who are the governors who are opposing the federal government at the Supreme Court when government says, look, let's implement full autonomy of local government, including your state government? All 36 are saying, no, are resisting the practice of full autonomy. So who are those that are practicing it at the moment?
Like my state, they erroneously mentioned my state that the local government councils are being run by caretaker, which is not the case. So in the response, my governor, our attorney general clearly stated it to them. And I also mentioned Lagos. If you go to Lagos, there had been elected executives since and 4-year tenure. If you go to Yobe State, it is there. They were just sworn in few days ago from one transition to the other. If you go to Gombe,
Thank you very much, Honorable Muazu Fata, for your contribution there. Let's move on to our Zoom guest, Comrade Ambulu Akim Olatunji, the President General of Nolge. Let's have your thoughts on how local government are currently structured and governed in Nigeria. What are your thoughts? Are they in accordance with the Constitution?
I want to appreciate you, and I've listened patiently to other colleagues. Let me praise the intelligence and the courageous submission of the senior advocate of Nigeria. He has put the facts on the ground squarely. It is correct. Let me say, we only have 2.5 states practicing autonomy in Nigeria. One, 80 states, second one, Jigawa State. and partially Rivers State. All other states have one level or another. Number one, most of the states in Nigeria legislate against Schedule 4 of the Constitution. All the collectible of local government have been hijacked. Number one, the issue of advertisement. State government has created signage agencies to seal the revenue of local government. In motor parks and garages, all the states in Nigeria have hijacked the collection of rates and taxes at motor park. Again, the most painful thing is that the Supreme Court judgment of 2003 clearly states that local government shall only participate in funding primary education. No state in Nigeria, apart from Rivers, implemented this judgment. So all of them cumulatively are guilty. The issue of saying my state is different is not correct. And again, what we are practicing now during the electoral process and local government cannot be called a transparent and credible election. We only have two centers that implemented this. One, FCT, conducted by INEC, and the second one under Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State. All other election and local government are charade, they are scam. So it cannot be called an election. It was coronation, appointment, and promotion. And they give way to a very weak political leaders, emergence at local government level, who now serve as conduit pipe through which allocation meant for local government are hijacked and signed. The issue that is bedefiling local government now is that virtually all political office holders in local government have been taught to glorify civil servants. It is the ministry at the state level that pay local government political appointees salary. They are not independent. These are chief executives of local government who are supposed to determine the remuneration and the payment to themselves and their employees. That is not allowed. That is only a cover-up. Most states will call that meeting, sign document just like the son said, and ask the government to apprend their signatures. And what they do, they receive a lot in the morning. In the evening, the money has been siphoned. Most chairmen of local government are not signatories to the account open on that. So let us be frank. If we want to fix Nigeria, let us address it. No sentiment and my person. My state is different. To what level? Is it the same government that is paying primary school teachers in that state? That is not correct. In that state, is the only one party that exists in that state? Why are we having all political leaders in local government from one singular party? Is that a transparent, credible election? My brother, the issue of the all governors are united against local government. Let us be factual and be truthful. Most states in Nigeria, during the assembly, that send their to implement assembly.
Well, we seem to be having some audio challenge with.
Well, we will get back to him, I'm sure.
Yeah, we will, so that he can complete his.
But I understand that in Jos, Professor Dakas is ready. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Put you on the spot right away. I don't know how much you've listened in to the contributions of other guests on the program, but what is your own reading of the practice of local government autonomy across the country?
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I was asking, what is your own reading? What is your assessment of the practice of local government autonomy across the country? Yes, we have it in the Constitution, but what do you make of how it is implemented across the country?
The question, unfortunately.
Well, let's come back to the studio then.
And
It's
it's a question
unfortunate.
we've taken a bit from, I had asked the Algon chairman earlier if some states, in fact, he mentioned quite a number, close to 10 or thereabout, if they are all practicing partial, in any case, there's no room for partial practice of autonomy. If they are practicing some form of autonomy, to what extent is it? And who are those challenging the federal government at the Supreme Court at the moment?
Demola and Victor. Until we stop what I call psychopathic praise singing of leadership, we will remain in this very difficult situation. And with profound respect to the Argos chairman, I think he's playing politics with us. I know of very many states, including Kwara he called.
No, in Nasarawa.
Including Kwara, get me right.
In fact, the situation in Kwara is that for 5 years now, they've not had any
no local government. And even in Nasarawa, where he say he is, go to the 4th schedule to the Constitution. It spells out clearly the functions of local government. Is Nasarawa State performing and allowing the local government to maximally perform the functions constitutionally spelled out in the 4th schedule to the Constitution? For instance, signage, signboard, culvert, building markets. There is a law, signage law of Nasarawa State that vests the power of collecting this revenue in the Nasarawa State Board of Internal Revenue, not run by any of the local government. Who runs the Karo market? Who runs the burial ground? Those are functions of the local government. Who collect revenues on bicycle, tricycle in Nasarawa State? Until we stop psychopathic praise singing of political leaders and start holding them accountable, we will not go anywhere. The problem we have is that when we are comfortably in a comfort zone, we begin to observe table manners. Look, there is no state in Nigeria, including even, of course, Rivers that they call, that runs a democratically elected local government or allowed democracy to run. If it were so, just of yesterday, we saw what looks like gunshot and some persons coming out to say in the face of clear constitutional provision, to say that when their tenure is expired, they are going to rely on the law that have been nullified by a court of competent jurisdiction, and that those who attempt to come there will meet their forefather earlier than appointed in the grave. And you are talking about democracy, democratically elected local government in that state. Go to Kogi. How many elections have that government in that state conducted? Even from the time of inception, like my brother said, the president of is it Norge?
Norge.
What we have as a system of government in our local government, and even a greater extent in our Nigerian democracy, is political coronation and not democracy. We must not deceive ourselves. And it is the deception we practice and claiming that Nigeria is a democratic state that is landing us where we are. No leader is held accountable. You see that even people whose code of conduct forbid blind loyalty to individual in the office come to national television to say, I am loyal to Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. Z. Our loyalty should be to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And if you ask me, it is on the basis of that that I came with a bow tie of a national color. I'm unapologetically a Nigerian of both parents. I hold no any citizen of any other country. This is our land. This is our country. We must put it right. Things are not going well in the local government. If you see the manner, go and do your journalistic investigation of even the current chairman of local government that have been coronated and see how unhygienic they have been put in operation of the local government by overbearing political godfathers who demand for kickbacks that go to their pocket. Why is Nigeria in the midst of plenty river always thirsty? We have resources. It's not being allowed to be shared. How many primary health care facilities do you have in Nasarawa State? In Nasarawa Toto, in Awe, in Kiana? How many? Let's go. I do not believe in achievement by advertisement. Achievements are visible. They are seen. Any government that paid to advertise its achievement is a failed government, because you can see it, you can feel it. So are we feeling local government in our respective states? I come from a local government, and I can tell you where I come from. I single-handedly put a 25-bedded hospital in that place. Indeed, when I was putting it up, they except only one chairman that came, the rest thought I was coming home for political campaign. I am not a politician. I do not intend to be, but I love the comfort of Nigerians. Nigeria must be made to enjoy the natural resources given to them by God. We are not enjoying it. Go to respective local governments and see how people live in squalor. So let's not pretend about it. All is not well with the local government system in Nigeria, including Nasarawa State, including Kwara, including Kogi, including Benue, including all the states, even the so-called places that you said you have had election. How many political parties do we have in Nigeria? Have we asked questions? Why is it that in a state controlled by APC, only APC will win councillor, win chairmanship of the local government? On the basis of what? Performance? What is the performance? In the state controlled by PDP, it must be only PDP. So the reason is because we have glorified democracy rooted in thuggery and thuggish approach, so much so that the people of Nigeria are suffering constitutional infringement of freedom to their liberty. There is always on daily basis intimidation to fear. Political leaders are feared, and they inject fears in the people. That's why you don't hear them talk language of democracy. During the election, you are asked to go and deliver your polling units. What power do you have to deliver? Delivery of polling units is a function of the sovereignty of the people and the performance of those in governance. Do we have good governance at the local government? Now, I do not want to talk about the pending litigation in the Supreme Court, but I commend the Honorable the Attorney General of the Federation for that bold step. But would Prince Lateef Fagbemi remain perpetually the Attorney General of the Federation for life? Will President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is attempting to think that there should be autonomy in the local government, remain president forever? When these people succeed in what they want to do, have we put in place a plan that sustainability that the Nigerians of unborn generation may not be infested with incurable iniquities of disobedience to our constitution? Because it appears to me, profoundly with respect, it appears to me that in this country, Victor and Demola, we believe and worship wrongs as right. So much so that wrongs has assumed a baptismal name of right in Nigeria, and then we even begin to put it in our constitution, in our electoral jurisprudence, that if there should be non-compliance, and you should then go to show that the non-compliance has substantially affected the outcome, why should we give room for failure? It is the room we give for failure in our laws, and the interpretation we give for those failure and installing of popular leadership that has strangulated the democratic system we run. Okay. Let's face the reality.
Thank you so much.
We are running a militarized civil rule in this country, including at the local government.
Thank you very much, Okutekwa SAN, for your passionate delivery of your thoughts there, and I believe that your thought is well stated, and the authorities are listening to them. So, but let's go back to our Zoom guest, where Comrade Ambali Akim Olatunji, the President General of NOLGE. I hope your audio is normalized now. We want you to complete your thoughts on what you were saying earlier on, and also give us some of the major challenges that local governments are encountering in Nigeria.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible now. Well, most challenges being faced by local governments are linked to the deliberate attempt by the state political elites to muzzle down local government. Because local government is supposed to be the political leader supposed to have been breed. But because of fear of giving the power to Nigerians, hello?
Yeah, you please. Go ahead.
Political government has been crippled. One of the fundamental challenges of local government is determination of local. Once the process is transparent, it's not credible. Leadership emergence. And those are the people who are not accountable to the people who are accountable to. They are only to their godfathers. Number two, the issue of local government revenue against the fourth schedule of the Constitution has financially crippled government. So local government hello?
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Although we're having some challenges with your audio, I don't know if you can just do something to rectify it.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Because local government cannot assess fully allocation and the IGR, this has crippled local government financially. All the statutory functions of local government can no longer be met. And this has led to harrowing experience at the rural level. You can notice that there is rural urban migration, there's rural poverty, there's food insecurity, there's general insecurity at that level. Because of the lack of basic amenities that are supposed to have been provided by local government, we have infrastructural gap, rural roads are no longer passable, rural electrification has been neglected, rural health care has been forcefully hijacked by the state government through creation of primary health care development board, which has forcefully seized the role of local government in primary health care. Even the functional primary schools, primary education, has been hijacked using the instrumentality of state laws. They are now under the State Universal Basic Education Board. And this has also led to massive withdrawal of competent hands from local government system. People are not allowed to contribute their quota professionally to the development of the grassroots. Cumulatively, this is why Nigeria is sliding down, and that is why something ought to be done. we have to commend the courage of Mr. President, who gave a clear directive to the Attorney General of the Federation. This can be situated within the realization that in the last 1 year, all the intervention program by President and his government has not really had a meaningful impact because the structure through which those services supposed to be accessed by Nigerian masses are not there. What we're having now is that the issue of social intervention, like palliative and others, hang in the balance. You can't see it because the local government are supposed to be the neighborhood government that delivered this are missing in action. Finally, we have a dysfunctional local government system that is so weak, that cannot deliver dividends of democracy. And something urgent needed to be done. And that is why NOGI has taken it upon herself too to continue mass mobilization, mass rally in support of the case that has been initiated by federal government. If we are patriotic enough, we are nationalistic, we do know that Nigeria is not healthy. We can't continue doing the same thing this time and expect a result. Once we have a functional local government, the problems of Nigeria will be reduced tremendously. That is why we give kudos to Mr. President.
All right.
So once we have it, the problems, our problems will be reduced tremendously. That is talking about the issue of insecurity and that of food security and all that, just like SAN here also mentioned. I think you should just go to Jos.
We can go to Jos now. Professor Darkas. Okay, now that we have you through, would you assess for us what local government autonomy would mean in practical terms?
The starting point for me is to underscore the fact that the local government system in Nigeria, in terms of the practice that is prevalent, is a travesty in most of the local governments. And I think that point has been made very clear. The other point clearly is that, as we say in law, res ipsa loquitur. It is self-evident. The thing speaks for itself in terms of the very parlous state of our local governments. But with particular reference to the question you have asked regarding autonomy in concrete terms, I'd like to bring to bear my experience when I had the privilege of serving as the lead consultant to the House of Representatives Special Committee on Constitutional Review, especially under the 9th Assembly. There were two fundamental issues of autonomy that were addressed. The first is the financial autonomy of local governments. The second is the administrative autonomy of these local governments. Now, let me conceptualize this and give you a sense of what transpired. In terms of the financial autonomy of local governments, the challenge essentially has to do with Section 162 of the Nigerian Constitution that makes provision for a state joint local government account. And so you find that in many states, they use the instrumentality of that provision to undermine the financial autonomy of local governments. Now, what the 9th National Assembly did in the context of constitutional amendment was to now provide that the funds that are due to local governments should go directly to the local governments. In terms of administrative autonomy, the amendment that was made sought to go beyond the very blanket provisions of Section 7 of the Nigerian Constitution. And it now addressed the challenge of caretaker committees, the arbitrary and unlawful dissolution of local government councils. And what it provided for was to reinforce the fact that local government councils must be democratic, and that where a particular state unlawfully dissolves a local government council or puts in place a caretaker committee, that such local government should no longer have the benefit of any funds coming from the federation account. These were the two fundamental issues of autonomy that were addressed in the context of the constitutional amendment. Unfortunately, and I'd like to give you statistics, in respect of financial autonomy, and keep in mind that the process of constitutional amendment requires that the bill is passed by both chambers of the National Assembly. It is transmitted to the states, and you need 2/3, which is 24 of the 36 states. In respect of local government financial autonomy, only 16 states voted in favor. 11 states voted against. 3 states abstained or did not clearly indicate what their preference was. And 6 states did not transmit any returns to the National Assembly. In respect of local government administrative autonomy, only 15 states voted in favor, 12 states voted against, 3 states abstained, 6 states did not make any returns to the National Assembly. So this is to give you a sense of the fundamental challenges that we face. And I hope that in the context of this engagement, we'll have the opportunity to go beyond the lamentations and focus on what needs to be done in the context of the current constitutional amendment in order to address the challenges that bedeviled the last exercise.
Kickstart that contribution in terms of what needs to be done. What are we not doing right at the moment that we need to now do to make progress? I said, what is it that we are doing now that we need to stop? What do we need to do to make progress in, enhancing the autonomy of local governments?
There was a recent national discourse on local government autonomy, and I had the privilege of being the keynote speaker, and I put forward a number of proposals about how to address this challenge. The first is that in the context of constitutional amendment, we need to take a look at the process of constitutional amendment itself. The current procedure is set out in Section 9 of the Constitution, and which is the section that says a bill is passed by the National Assembly, it is transmitted to the states, and you need 2/3 of the states, which is 24. And the first proposal that I put forward is that you need to go beyond what Section 9 provides. That you need to, first of all, amend Section 9 of the Constitution so that you now provide for a referendum. In a number of countries, including the United States, there are ballot initiatives. Since it is becoming increasingly difficult to get the states to come on board, you now need to amend Section 9 so that local government autonomy, for instance, can become a ballot initiative. And you can then subject this to referendum at the next general elections. Let us take this matter directly to Nigerians beyond what is happening at the level of state houses of assembly. The second proposal that I have put forward is that you can do a give and take from what transpired in the last constitutional amendment exercise. Most states, as I pointed out, given the statistics that I reeled out, were against local government autonomy. But on the other hand, you found that the National Assembly passed the requisite bills in respect of local government autonomy. Now, so the National Assembly is for local government autonomy. The majority of state assemblies so far are not in favor. But look at the flip side. The National Assembly is against state policing, the devolution of state policing powers to the concurrent legislative list. But on the other hand, the majority of states, so far there is momentum at the level of the states for state policing. So why don't we have a give and take? And I propose that what the National Assembly needs to do is to put in place what I call a strategic coupling of the bills. Let us have the bills on local government autonomy and the bill on state policing together. That way, states that are for state policing will invariably have no choice but to vote for that bill because they stand to benefit from the local government, from the state policing component. The National Assembly that is for local government autonomy can then pass the bill, and that way you find that, hate or tell, it is possible for local government autonomy bill to be passed because the National Assembly has something to benefit from it and the state assemblies have something to benefit from it. There are a number of other proposals that, if given the time, I will put forward in order to address this challenge that has been very recurrent.
Thank you very much, Professor Dakas SAN, for your proposal there. We'll still get back to you, but now we'll take a break, after which the conversation continues. Stay with us.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we swear in colors, we stand guard in demand. We make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Diversity is unique, we have more than just a nation. We are Nigeria, strength and unity, we know they carry life. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
In the heat of the summer, walking on the road feels like walking on hot coals.
How do I cope with this heat?
And how do I cope with that bad odor?
By staying 5 degrees cooler.
Body odor is caused by germs, and on hot days, the sweating and the odor are more. That's why you need to get the new improved Dettol Cool Soap, which offers up to 5 degrees instant cooling sensation and protects you from 99.9% odor-causing germs.
Meet lovebirds Jayola and Adama Davies. Their dream of living together as man and wife has finally been fulfilled.
The latest couple in town. Mr. and Mrs. Jaye Davis!
But an invasion by their troublesome families was not a scenario they bargained for. Her mother moves in. His mother shows up with his little niece. Then her younger sister joins the scramble.
You want to stay?
Married life suddenly becomes very complicated even before it started. Follow their story on this channel as they confront every challenge as it comes. Family forever, the story of our lives.
This na Go TV, and now for here you fit watch better football from Mbappe. Ball wey Kane use the tear net, Ronaldo. And all the big boys we go follow drag the who go be Oga of Europe. Now who go become the Baba of Europe? Watch all the 51 games live on Top Super Sport from GoTV Jolly to Super Plus and GoTV Stream. Euro 2024 live. It goes sweet on Top GoTV. Love it.
You have to move from the point where you protect and defend your religion to a point where you also recognize the rights of the other person, of the other religion, and protect it. So if I am protecting my own territory and my own people and trying to emphasize their rights and protect their rights, I should also be thinking about how to protect the rights of the others.
Both Islam and Christianity recognize and defer to God, and both recognize the temporariness of the life of this world, and that ultimately we all go back to God for the day of reckoning, when everybody will render an account of his life on this temporary abode.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA, and we're still discussing the autonomy of local government in Nigeria. And we have guests in the various centers here in the studio and also across the country. Now let's move on to our guest, that is the Algon National President, Honorable Aminu Mwazu Meifata. Well, Honorable, I want to ask what steps, because we have laid the foundations of what the Constitution says concerning local government autonomy. Now, we're looking for a way forward now. What steps should policy makers, take to move towards local government autonomy?
Very much. Let me just briefly correct the impression by San. I said why the two tiers of government are functioning well, that's federal and state. And I started mentioning why the federal government, where it is guilty. And I mentioned where the state too is guilty. I say even if the states are guilty, there are certain states that they allow partial autonomy, financial autonomy, and such states recorded improvement. That was what I meant. It was not that I was citing any state in the federation. Let him take this as a correction. And for the way forward, one, let there be uniformity in the conduct of local government elections across the country, whereby one independent body should conduct the election. And there should be uniformity in tenure, just like what the president and the governors are enjoying. Let it be 4 years. Then moving forward, let there be removal of joint accounts so that funds can go directly to local government councils in the country. And let the 10%, as clearly stated in of IGR of this, be shared the local government councils. And then let those functions that ordinarily local government councils are constitutionally allowed to perform, let there be restoration of such functions like primary education, health, agric, security, and other basic responsibilities that allow local government councils to undertake developmental projects of direct bearing on people at the ground, which I mentioned earlier on, that we were all beneficiaries of local government councils being functional because we went through free primary education, most of us, where we were given free books, free uniforms, and even breakfast. All of these were being undertaken by local government councils then, when they used to have full autonomy. So let there be restoration of full financial and administrative autonomy. But with one thing, the state governments should have responsibility to oversee certain things, just like the way federal government is overseeing certain things, to ensure transparency, to ensure that rules are followed strictly, and to ensure that the local government council chairmen don't run foul of the existing laws. That would be guidance, guidance, as well as the expert guidance by people from the state and government to the local government councils. So let this be, and this guidance should be positive guidance, guidance that will bring SOCO to people at the grassroots. Let there be more funds at the disposal of local government councils so that they can tackle so many of these challenges, all these crimes, all this food security, and what I mean, the local government councils are properly funded by adjusting upwards the sharing formula for local government councils from FAC, that is from the Federation Account Appropriation Committee. If that is done, and then let the local government council chairman, let us be sincere to ourselves. Let us have that conscious zeal and passion for love of our people at the grassroots to develop them, and to know that even if we not be questioned hereafter, we are going to be accountable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us have this at the back of our minds. And then when we do this, and let each and every operator, let each and every stakeholder serving with the responsibility of seeing that local government councils function like they used to, be up and doing. Once we restore some of this, then there will be sanity in local government councils across the country. And frankly speaking, so many people will not even bother looking over it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mayfata. You have highlighted a lot of points there. Because of the non-existence, let's just put it like that, of local governments, most Nigerians, they are always putting their, hope on the federal government. Everything federal government, everything federal government. And that is why, this conversation is very, very vital, so that for us to be able to correct a lot of things that are wrong in the in our country, not the Constitution now. So we're talking about the way forward. I know, Victor, you want to ask the SAN some questions.
He mentioned, the Algon chairman mentioned something that caught my attention, and that is the uniformity of tenures of local governments, state governments, and federal government, so that elections are conducted at the same time. This point, I know that the late Chief Gani Fawemi fought for this until his dying breath. He kept fighting for the uniformity. That how can you have 4 up, 4 at the middle, and down there you have 3? I remember him going to court with a tripod at one time and trying to demonstrate how this tripod cannot stand because these 2 are longer than this one. I remember that very clearly. And so this is one point that I take to heart. What are the other recommendations that you would like to make regarding how to move local government autonomy forward?
Before my recommendation, I listened to my classmate, Professor Dakas, C.J. Dakas, talking about the amendment of Section 9 of the Constitution. The problem of amending Section 9 of the Constitution will be the same problem that we have or now have in creating local government autonomy, because that section, if you may read, say the National Assembly, subject to the provision of this section, may alter any of the provisions of this Constitution. And there is an act of the National Assembly for the alteration of this Constitution, not being an act to which Section 8 of this Constitution apply, shall not be passed either in the House of National Assembly or in the House of National Assembly unless the proposal is supported by a vote of no less than 2/3 majority of all the members of the House of Assembly and approved by resolution of Houses of Assembly of not less than 1/4 of the vote of all the states. In other words, you cannot alter Section 9 without reference to the states, and they will kill it. So my solution, first, is that I urge the Association of Local Government of Nigeria, the workers, NOGE, go to court, ask the court to make a declaration, and that any state that is usurping the functions of the local government as encapsulated in 4th schedule of the Constitution, that all things being done there should be dismantled by court order. 2, commanding that all those things being done by the states be restored back to the respective 774 local governments. Once it becomes an order of court, then it can be enforced, and tie the enforcement of those orders to the money of the local government that is coming from the federation account. That can be done by those who are directly affected by it. When you leave it for the local government chairman, they are not likely to do it, because They are the appointees and coronators, if there is any word like that, of the chief executives. So final submission is that we must resolve as a people that Nigeria should work and local government should work. And that is why I think that it is high time we look at the quality of leaders we recruit and put in place at the local government. Any chairman of local government that have no respect and love for his people cannot fight for the autonomy of that local government as constitutionalized in the first schedule to the constitution. When you go to all the states, the various local government functions that are spelled out in the fourth schedule to the constitution have been hijacked, taken over by the states, and the states are not, allowing them to breathe. So we need to have strong leaders, and that's why, for me, I commend the efforts of the federal government. My commendation will go beyond this mere ad hoc something. Please, sir, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu has nothing again to look for to achieve. What is required to achieve and do and make Nigeria great is to provide leadership and direction and deal with those who require to be dealt with without minding whose us is God and without thinking of political benefit of 2027. Nigeria needs to exist for us to think about 2027. And the foundation to do so must be laid by holding everyone who is in breach of the Constitution guilty, irrespective of the political parties they belong, and allow the judicial system to do their work. And I charge the judiciary to also note that there are judiciary in Nigerian soil going to the Nigerian market, seeing what Nigerian people see and suffer, and give succor by their purposeful interpretation of our constitution that will hold our leaders at local government, state, and national level responsible to the constitution. Let us not create room to say just engage in little sin. These sins are not too much enough, but let us accommodate it. The moment we continue to tolerate an intolerable behavior, we will continue to sink deeper and deeper in this mess. So my recommendation finally, therefore, and I thank the Algon chairman of Nasarawa State who had gone ecclesiastical. There is no pagan leading us. All either we are Muslim or we are Christian. And the two holy books abhor and hate those who engage in unrighteous behavior. The iniquities of leadership in this country is what is crippling the local government. If we all resolve to respect the letters and the spirit of our constitution and do things as the law says we should do, there is no need for anybody to reject autonomy of local government, because the constitution already gives them autonomy. It is the operation of the autonomy that has been strangulated. So that's my suggestion.
Thank you very much, Samuel Okutakpa, for your submission there. That is, Nigeria must exist before we can have the 2027 elections, and we all must come to the table to do the right thing. Now let's go to our Zoom guest. That is talking about the President General of Norgay, Akim Olatunji. Now let's take your own, let's have your contribution concerning the way forward. What are the policies makers, the steps that they need to take so that we can have the local government autonomy in this country?
Thank you very much. Not only the policy maker, Norgay and patriotic Nigeria sensitize Nigeria, sensitize Nigerian people that is right to have a functional local government system that is autonomous, number one. Number two, Eric Maroli, by various governors, is the legal way out, which the president has taken the bull by the horn. we should be praying to support the president to get justice and his government at the Supreme Court, so that once and for all, this issue will be legally resolved. Number three, we have already commenced what the SAN advised us. You look at the issue of the NFIU case that was decided at the appeal court. Norgate joined the party. We were in court at the lower court. We were in court at the appeal court. We got the justice together. The judgment favor. Supreme Court. But it's a government, government. We cannot be able to join for. We are ready to do what we have been going to court against forceful hijacking of marriage registry. We were in.
It seems we're still having some technical issue with that Zoom connection there. So, but let's go to our guest in Jos studio, Professor Dakas, SAN. Let's have your parting shots now because of time. Tell us the way forward.
Just very quickly, in response to the comment made by my learned brother Silk and classmate Jibrin Okutepa, I'm an apostle of referendum in the context of constitutional amendment, and I hope that we'll have some opportunity to address this in a more profound manner. But I think that as important as it is to have local government autonomy, whether administrative or financial, and I'm all for that, one of the things that we must emphasize is that unless we strengthen accountability mechanisms at the local government level, even if you ensure that by reason of financial autonomy, all the resources that are due to the local governments from the federation account should go directly to the local governments. If we don't strengthen accountability mechanisms, we are going to end up with a cesspool of corruption. So it is not enough to engender autonomy, whether administrative or financial. We must of necessity make sure that the accountability mechanisms at the local government are strengthened, so that at the end of the day, whatever funds are due to the local governments are prudently utilized for the benefit of the vast majority of the people that live at the grassroots. The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, has begun to do something in that respect, but I'm aware that there is considerable resistance. And so this is something that needs to be addressed in a very profound way, so that at the end of the day, the ultimate beneficiary of the autonomy at the local governments, the vast majority of the people at the grassroots level, will finally breathe and will have the benefit of democracy in a manner that is profound and sustainable. Thank you.
All right. I think we should now thank, because we've run out of time completely. So let me thank you, Professor Dakas, C.J. Dakas, who is SAN, who is Professor of Comparative Constitutional Law, International Law and Jurisprudence. He is also a former Attorney General of Plateau State, lead consultant to the 9th House of Representatives Special Committee on Constitutional Review, in which capacity we have enjoyed quite his contribution today. Thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Nigeria. All right.
Also, we have the SAN, Jibrin Samuel Okutepa, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you so much for your contribution, your robust contribution today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Demola and Victor.
Also, we want to thank via Zoom Honorable Aminu Muazu Meifata, National President, Association of Local Government of Nigeria, ALGON, who is also ALGON Chairman, Nasarawa State. Thank you for your contribution, Honorable.
Thank you. Thank you, and you're always welcome.
And all the NOLGE Chairman, President General of NOLGE, Comrade Ambali Akim Olatunji. Thank you so much for joining us for today's conversation.
Thank you.
All right, that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. We thank you very much for your time. I am Victor Azo. See you again tomorrow.
And I am Ademola Adeoye. I appreciate your company. Thank you for joining us.